Hey Capricorn, welcome to your weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast. This is for September 12th through the 18th of 2016. I'm Athen, and this is for Sidereal Astrology. If you are new to the channel, be sure to check out the link down below because the signs are different. All right, so Capricorn, this week, another very powerful week here in September. We've got a lunar eclipse taking place in your third house. So this is the house of your mind, essentially, the practical mind. Communication, things in your immediate environment, learning, reading, writing, all of this stuff could be coming to the forefront this week for your examination. And that's essentially what this lunar eclipse is. It's like a full moon. It's this status check. So you can see how things are going in your life involving your communication, involving maybe some things that maybe you have been working on over the past 6 months, involving reading, writing, a sharing of information, maybe getting involved in your community, maybe doing some trading, some business, these kinds of things. The marketplace, all of this is emphasized by the third house. So with this lunar eclipse, of course, we are talking about the South Node, and the South Node has been transiting that third house of yours for the past roughly a couple years. So this is now the last and final lunar eclipse here involving this third house that does include the South Node for the next 16 years. So it's a very important time of now final culmination and final releasing, really, when it comes to these older energies that have to do with the mind, older communication perspectives, older things that have to do with the the reading and writing or whatever it is you might be involved with that is just no longer serving you, right? The things that are no longer serving you, the extremes, the unhealthy patterns, all of this must go. So it's a great time to reflect, but it's also an energetic time of moving things forward. So it's a bit of both. It's, this lunar eclipse is about letting go of the old, the unhealthy, the imbalanced, to make way for the new. And the new type of communication, the new type of outlook, the new type of exchanging and perhaps community. So that's going to be the forefront. It is going to be conjoining up to Chiron, so maybe there are some doubts or insecurities about some of these things, and that's very natural, very normal wherever Chiron is transiting. Just know that it's not a reflection of the external environment per se. It's more of just an internal wound that we're having to heal and work with. But that's part of the process. So that's coming to the forefront, some of these wounds for the healing. And the healing comes through once we have awareness and perhaps most importantly, acceptance. Right? We accept things for how they are. We're in the present moment. That's the Pisces influence to that. And then we're able to go with the flow. So this lunar eclipse is also going to be squaring up to Mars. No surprise here because this whole solar eclipse cycle has been in this T-square involving Saturn and Mars. And so collectively challenging. And the challenging side to this is that Mars is our drives. Mars is the things we want. Mars is the things we're pursuit on. It's our own personal desires, our own personal needs. So this can be taken to an extreme this week. I mean, the propensity will be towards extreme collectively, but within each of us individually, and especially with this awareness, we can have balance. We can have tact. We can take a breath and sort of detach for a moment from the drives, from the ego, from that desire, and that can help things stay nice and balanced. Now, a lot of this drive might have to do with your aspirations at the moment. There's a lot of energy about this, maybe future related things for some of you. Again, maybe community things if you're involved on that level, organizational stuff, but all in all, future things, whatever it is you've been perhaps lately putting energy towards and over the past year structuring and building with Saturn. So patience, taking a step back, taking a breath can be very important here this week. All right, so along with that, Mercury retrograde is taking place in your 8th house, which again is your whole life path destiny for the next year and a half. Whole life path is pushing you towards depth, towards intimacy, towards openness and vulnerability with yourself, with relationships, and perhaps most fundamentally, with life. So this is the life path for you to really get into the deeper meaning of things, to pierce the veil, to go beyond the surface level. And this might be through research, it might be through relationships, it might be through shared resources, anything that has to do with creating bonds in life. Of course, we want to create healthy bonds and detach ourselves from unhealthy ones. So if there's anything that is, like debts or unhealthy attachments, things like this, it's an excellent time to pretty much learn more about these things over the next year and a half, especially with Mercury retrograde at the moment. There's this reconsideration right now about the deeper meaning of life and the importance of having, for example, healthy interdependency. So great things to reflect on, great things to sort of reconsider at the moment. Now, this lunar eclipse is going to go exact on Friday. So especially as the weekday, work week unfolds, we'll be feeling more of that lunar eclipse, and then the shift will take place going into the weekend. But certainly illumination, certainly the status check, particularly involving the rational, practical, everyday stuff, which could range from anything from community to trading to reading to writing, etc. All right, so as we approach that, the Mercury retrograde will be emphasized because Mercury will go over the sun, and this will be in that 8th house, helping you illuminate and see, again, more of this, what really matters in life energy. Now, with that, the sun is going to be shifting into your 9th, and actually this makes this week, especially as we get to the end of the week, very expansive. Okay, and you've already had Jupiter and Venus in the 9th, and this is the house of adventure. This is the house of possibilities, of potentials, also future things when it's about our belief system about the future. Seeing things positively, seeing things as how they can be cultivated. And so now with the sun here, great energy, great prana when you're focused on opening your mind and perhaps quite literally opening your horizon for some of you, maybe through the adventurous or travel or hiking or connecting to nature, these kinds of things. So great opportunities there for the next year and a half, roughly, with Jupiter in this 9th house, which is great. Venus here, perhaps connecting in relationships abroad or enjoying a bit of that expansive energy. All right, so that's the first half. That'll actually be the shift about midweek. And then as we go into the weekend, Mars will be trining up to Uranus, which is nice, kind of lifting this up a bit because Mars is under a lot of heavy aspects this week. It's nice to have a trine from Uranus to kind of lift things up over the weekend. Could be exciting, could be different, might have to do with some of these ideas or things you're working on this practical level, which has been, you've had a very progressive mind, very innovative mind over the past roughly 7 years here with Uranus in your 3rd house, and freedom. The freedom of ideas and individuality and all this and expressing that. So anyways, it could be good for that. Could also be good for maybe some new ideas with those aspirations or just momentum there. But again, with Mars, extra attention. Pausing for a moment can be very important. I also want to mention too, over the weekend, Uranus will be opposing up to Venus. So this is the classic example of how we need both possibilities and also a practical perspective of life. We really can't have one without the other. What is possible is practical, can be applied. If it can't, it's not really possible. Now is it? Vice versa. What is practical does need the possibilities and the potentials for it to turn into anything. If we're just caught up into the immediate details and we don't see the possibilities, we can't turn things into reality. So this is a great way of balancing these two energies, both the adventurous and also the practical can really go a long ways. All right, so Capricorn, have a fantastic week. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week.